you our build-up here with our panel, and I suppose one of the central figures to this whole story, Jose Mourinho, central figure, of course, but Paul Pogba has been, Damien, right at the middle and right at the heart of this whole story. What have you made of him over the last couple of weeks? His performances, forget the personality, if you can separate the two for the moment.
Yeah, well, if we touch on the young boys game a couple of weeks ago in the Champions League, people pick up the papers the next day, the headlines, the highlights. It's all Pogba saved the day, and listen, you can't argue. He scored 2 goals. He got a wonderful assist, and you know this is the penalty comes from this as well. We know he can play these diags, but you know, if you strip it all back and you look at him over 90 minutes, we actually had to cut this. This took so long, the penalty. But, you know, I still think it was a disappointing display from him. This is what you'd like to see him do more often. Use that pace, use that power, the strength. He's a machine. He's an absolute machine. But that's all the good stuff. But, you know, there was plenty of bad stuff as well. This is a midfield player. He plays in the 2 for France. Does he smell danger? Listen, Martial doesn't help him. Picks up an awful, really bad position. But you cannot waltz. This is Kamara here, waltz through your midfield 4. Pogba gets slower and slower and slower. I don't know whether he's lazy or just doesn't see it. And I haven't made my mind up, to be honest, at the minute. This is him again. You can't be breezing by Paul Pogba for that. He's, like I said, an absolute machine of a man. Another side of his game that probably rubs people up the wrong way is, you know, he thinks he can play his pace. He can't. For me, he never gets out of second gear. There he is there, and easily brushed aside, and the ball, he loses it. And here it is again. For such a top ability, his awareness in situations like that, it can be really poor. And this is one of the many reasons why I think the captaincy's been stripped off him. Look at his body language here when they lose the ball. Does not absolutely move, just digging his teammates out. And this, I remember last year we touched on it, he wanted to play further forward, but you know, always wants to come back, and yeah, he can play the diags, but can he get further up the pitch along with Fred? This is too easy to play against for young boys. And, you know, he does it too much. The Man U do too much for me. You know, can they get higher? Can they get into pockets? No pace about them, no tempo about them, and not a great watch. An easy ball for him, but again, with him, a lot of the time disrespects passes, thinks they're too easy, and, you know, I think this sums him up. Pass on to Lindelof, not the quickest in getting up. You know, this is like me getting out of bed in the morning. And but like I said, if he cares about the team, he cares about the club, you lose ball, you jump back up and you run back in, and it's just a bit of hard work. We talked about sprints earlier on there. He doesn't break a sweat some nights for me. And I mentioned in the teams, yeah, he's got world-class ability, but, you know, was Mourinho right to take the captaincy off him? Absolutely yes. Is he a £100 million brand? Absolutely yes. But for me, is he a £100 million player? I still don't think he is. Yeah.
But Liam, you know, look, we watched him closely win a World Cup with France over the summer. We have seen him, like, you go back to the Juventus
a different mindset.
But why is his mindset here so bad?
Because he doesn't like the coach. You can't get on with the coach.
I take your point, but I suppose a lot of people looking will be saying, hang on, he's a professional footballer, he's getting 300 grand a week or whatever, the money's immaterial, he's playing for a huge club.
Well, that's not his mentality. You can have players who are conscientious as well, who will say, OK, I don't like the coach, but I'm going to play, I'm going to show everybody how good I am. He hasn't got that mindset. I think he has the utmost respect for Didier Deschamps. He's got the utmost respect for a lot of the French players, and he did his job in the World Cup to really good effect. Yeah. Against Belgium, he was outstanding. And doing all the things that Damien's pointed out, that he's just not interested in doing for Manchester United. So there's a real problem there. There's a real battle going on there. And it'd be interesting to know, Ed Woodward, I think, was influential and very important in the signing of Pogba. Now, who is he going to back? Is he going to back the manager or is he going to back the player? Yeah. Certainly neither the manager or Pogba have come out of this season with any credit whatsoever.
Like, Richie, you know, as Liam says, that point, that neither of them are coming out of this with any credit. Like, the easier thing to do, I know it costs a fortune, but for Woodward, instead of getting rid of a whole load of those players that are causing Mourinho problems, the more straightforward solution is get rid of the manager, keep the players. It's not as costly to replace all of them. But like
one option is
these guys have down tools.
You could assess it and say, well, we'll do nothing. We'll keep them both. We'll leave it as it is. And I think to do that is just you're consigning the season to be chaos. There's reports out today, I don't know how accurate they are, Pogba supposedly has said to the teammates he wants to be gone in January if the manager isn't. You asked the question at Duff earlier, separate the player from the personality, his ability from his attitude,
Yeah.
and at the moment we can't, because it's his attitude and his personality which I think, as Liam is saying, is affecting his performances. And if it's down to a choice of one of the two, forget about chats about player power and the role of the manager and the game is changing and all that stuff. The board at Manchester United will be able to recognise Pogba as a potential match winner. They can remember his performances in the summer. They'll certainly be aware of his sell-on value and his brand. And they look at Mourinho, and things aren't as obvious there. You don't look at a manager who you can say is at the peak of his powers, and if we back him, we could potentially go somewhere. But what they can say about Pogba, we can sell him on for a hell of a lot in a few years, and he could win his trophies in the meantime.
That's said right. The contrast in how he played in the World Cup and how he's playing this season for Manchester United, you can only arrive at one conclusion, is he wants Mourinho gone.
Yeah.
That's the way he's playing. He's playing to get the manager sacked.
That's the reason you'd back him, because you can see what he's capable of doing. Not
What he
years
showed
ago,
at
like
Man U.
we know Mourinho's capable of doing a long time ago, but in the summer, he was lifting a World Cup.
But like say a potential suitor, if we believe Barcelona, although I don't know where he'd fit into that team, you know, if he wants out in January, a new manager getting him in going, hang on a minute, if I don't look after Paul Pogba, he's going to try and get rid of me. And the club maybe, you know, if he goes to a new club, he's seen in this light now as he got rid of the manager? Does that damage his value?
But that's
his
the
worth?
reality of money. You could describe Neymar as that. You can certainly describe Messi as that.
Yeah.
Ronaldo as well. Like, the top players have
Yeah.
to be managed. And again, you can take a step back from this and say that's all wrong. That's a power imbalance. The manager should be in charge. But the manager and Mourinho should know at this stage that without the players on side, like, all the programme notes in the world aren't going to make a difference. They'll get our attention, but they don't get players' attentions. The manager's got to bring the players with him. But if he's challenging them all and looking to slight them in public, question their dignity, question their attitude, all of those things, they're not going to come with him at all.